Number 3, we're going to apply operations with rational numbers in decimal form. The temperature at Blood Reserve in Alberta decreased by 1.2 degrees Celsius per hour for 3.5 hours. It then decreased by 0.9 degrees Celsius per hour for an hour and a half. What was the total decrease in temperature? So we've got two time periods, one of 3.5 hours and one of 1.5 hours. And two different temperature decreases was 1.2 degrees and 0.9 degrees. Method 1. Calculate it in steps. Temperature decrease in the first 3.5 hours is going to be 3.5 times the rate of 1.2 degrees Celsius per hour. So that works out to be negative 4.2 degrees Celsius. In the second stage, it was an hour and a half, so 1.5 times the rate of 0.9 degrees Celsius per hour. And 1.5 times 0.9 is going to give you 1.35. And it's negative 1.35. So then you take the negative 4.2 and the negative 1.35 and you add them together to get the total decrease in temperature. And when you do that, you're going to end up with negative 5.55. So the total temperature decrease was 5.55 degrees Celsius. Now you could do it in a in one expression, and this expression shows the temperature decrease. So you can say 3.5 times the negative 1.2 plus the 1.5 times negative 0.9. So we did this step first up above and this step second, and then we joined them together. But you can do it all in one expression as well. So negative 4.2 for the first half. And this is where order of operations comes into play. You do your multiplications first and then you do your adding. So negative 4.2 there and negative 1.35 here. You're multiplying by negative 0.9. And you'll end up with the same answer of negative 5.55. So as I mentioned, order of operations, perform the operations inside brackets first. Well, there are no operations inside brackets, it's just used to identify negative numbers. Then multiply and divide in order from left to right. So we did this multiplication first, then this multiplication, and then you add and subtract in order from left to right. Well, that becomes this, and there's only one operation to be done, and that's the addition, so it's the last step. Now you can use a calculator, and you could punch it in. And depending on what your calculator is capable of as far as brackets goes, you may be able to punch it in slightly differently, but you will still get a temperature decrease if you've done it correctly of 5.55 degrees Celsius. Remember, we were using a negative 5.55 at one point because it is a decrease. However, because we've used the word decrease in our final statement, we don't need to make this negative. We can just use it as a positive. If you'd said the total change in temperature, then that would be a negative 5.55. But because we've used the word decrease already, we can just use the positive form of the answer. Next question is, what was the average rate of decrease in temperature? So the average rate of decrease in temperature is going to be the total decrease in temperature divided by the total number of hours of change. So we take the negative 5.55 and then we're going to divide by the total number of hours, which 3.5 plus 1.5 gives you 5 hours total. So 5.55 divided by 5, and you're going to end up with negative 1.11 degrees is going to be the average rate of change. So the average rate of decrease in temperature was 1.11 degrees Celsius per hour. Another show you know, please go ahead and do it.